right, folks, I am delighted for everyone who's joined us. We're going to go ahead and get started. To introduce myself, my name's Liana Frey. I am a Dartmouth and Tech alum. I've been in the private sector, starting in tech and then in climate tech. And I recently rejoined Dartmouth. I'm a senior fellow at the Irving Institute and am creating a climate innovation hub. I'm so excited to talk about this program, Greenshot. It's a joint venture between the Magnuson Center for Entrepreneurship and the Irving Institute, officially named the Irving Institute for Energy, Sustainability, and Society. So heritage and energy, but a broader mission on climate overall. And today I want to tell you about the inaugural program called Greenshot that we're launching for climate entrepreneurs. And a couple things I want to tell you about this program is, first of all, we're opening this up. We welcome faculty, students, alums, and all entrepreneurs. So you do not have to be affiliated with Dartmouth to participate. We're super excited to bring in innovators and have them all work together. It's a hybrid program, so entrepreneurs can participate from anywhere. You do not have to be based in Hanover. We have an opening weekend in Hanover and a closing weekend in New York, and the rest of the program is virtual. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but we purposely created this program. One of the things that we want to do is create more connections between Dartmouth and the ecosystem around entrepreneurship that's happening around climate innovation across the US. And so we are piloting this hybrid program that hopefully celebrates, everything wonderful about being in Hanover, but also doesn't make a Hanover a limitation to participating. And just a quick housekeeping note before I get too far into this, but for folks that have questions, feel free to pop them into the chat. I've got a partner from the Institute on this call, Melissa, and she will help me kind of navigate that. So pop them in there. We'll definitely go through all of them at the end, but if there's anything relevant on a particular slide, Melissa will interrupt me so we can take care of it if there's something relevant to the slide we're on. So with that housekeeping note over, let me kind of keep walking through this. When we talk about climate solutions, we are thinking about climate broadly. So could be energy, could be transportation, could be the built environment, food and ag, and you can see the list, but it does not have to be a technical solution. It could be creating a database of educational resources for teachers. That would be a fantastic startup idea. So we are looking very broadly about climate overall. So if you've got an idea, it could be an idea for a new beauty product that is more sustainable than what exists on the market. So we are open to a broad range of solutions. In terms of the benefits of participating, there are I think 4 big ones. One is we are really assembling an amazing kind of A-list curriculum. We've got folks from the Tech School of Business signed up to teach some of the sessions. We're partnering with the Clean Tech Open, which is a leading program in New England. They're going to come in and teach some environmental sessions, and we are bringing in some amazing industry experts. I literally just was in Boston yesterday at the Engine talking to one of their partners there about coming in and teaching a session on technology and regulatory de-risking for folks that's relevant for, and he's one of the leading experts in that subject. So it's really exciting. I think we're going to have an amazing programmatic curriculum. We are also offering folks resources. So resources, I think of in a couple ways. One, physical resources. So though you can participate from anywhere. If you would like to participate from Hanover, we're going to offer a working space in the Irving Institute. It's the beautiful building that you saw on the first, let me just come back a second, but It's at the end of Tuck Mall Drive. For those of you that are familiar with Hanover, this is the lobby of the Irving Institute. It's a light-filled building, and it's also built in a very environmentally friendly way. We are also offering dry lab space within the Irving Institute. So we are offering workspace and lab space. And then the other type of resource we're thinking about is actually help with the work. And so we do have MBA student consulting teams that could take on a project, explore a new market, do customer research, look at maybe a supply chain issue. So all sorts of exciting opportunities to accelerate your startup's development by having a student consulting team come in. This is additional to the ability to recruit undergrads there, Tuck students, and it's most of you know on this call what an amazingly talented bunch. The other big thing that we're offering is the community. So tapping into the Dartmouth alumni climate community, and even beyond alumni, folks that are kind of in the Dartmouth ecosystem is really amazing. And this is the first program I feel like we're really assembling this full range of resources behind. And so we are pulling together leading venture capitalists, leading entrepreneurs, corporate partners, folks from industry that want to be involved as mentors or resources. So a really fantastic offering. I personally have talked to, at this point, hundreds of alums who work in climate, and I don't think I've had a single no about participating. In fact, the question is, how can I lean in? How can I help more? Which is really exciting. And I think Dartmouth has one of the most engaged alumni communities of any school. And so it's a really great, amazing network and resource. The other thing I want to talk about is funding. This is a program that is absolutely free for participants. We do not take equity. The opportunity you get is, I'll go through who our advisory council is in a minute, but at the end of the program, you get an opportunity to pitch to some of the leading climate venture capitalists out there. There is also a 75K, I should say up to 75K team prize that will be awarded. It may be awarded to one team. We may split it between two teams, hence the up to 75K, but we have 75K that will be awarded to participants in the program. And then we do offer, we bring in an expert on navigating government grants and other non-dilutive funding options. We also have some of these experts in the network. And so for those of you that aren't going for VC funding, there's opportunities there on how to raise funds in other ways. And then the fourth pillar of the program is we really want to create fast track corporate partnerships. And as a first phase of this, we're starting with what I'm calling customer feedback panels. But there are 3 different panels, and you can participate in as many of the panels as you want, but you get the opportunity to pitch to potential buyers. There's a renewable energy and utility panel, a sustainability officer panel, and a Dartmouth procurement panel, where you get in front of the buyers and can get direct feedback on what they're looking for, how to get in their process, what they think of your pitch. So there's no guarantee of a sale, but you get to pitch directly to them, and the possibility of that happening, they're excited to be part of the program and excited to hear the pitches. So you get in front of the right folks. So I mentioned some of the venture capitalists you get to pitch to, so I wanted to be specific. We have a great advisory council. So on the top row are some of the venture capitalists involved. We've got Andrew Beebe at Obvious Ventures. They're one of the top climate inventors based out of San Francisco. Christina Chang, who came in as one of the top science officers at Lower Carbon. She's based out of Boston. If you're not familiar with Lower Carbon, that's Chris Sacco's climate investment group, really making some waves in the industry. Matt Eggers, who was at Breakthrough Ventures, he recently departed Breakthrough and is now the managing director at Prelude Ventures, also looking at climate-related investments. We've got Kyle Teamy, who also came out of Breakthrough and now has a $1 billion fund with RA Capital on planetary health. Andrew Lackner, who looks specifically in the energy transition space and related spaces, but came out of GE Ventures and has an amazing track record and resume. Laura Rippey from Green D Ventures. And then if you take a look at the next row, we've got some really amazing entrepreneurs. Paul at Moxion, Mike, who's a serial entrepreneur, currently at OHO, and then Nick Stork, who built Archaea Energy from zero, sold it at $4 billion, and now works through Breakthrough on helping other entrepreneurs scale up and deploy. We've got Andrew Marino, who works at Generate. They're a huge infrastructure company. He runs the venture capital arm, so really great to have that perspective. And David has been involved with the Obama administration on climate policy, now works for an investment bank, but his role is specifically in working with venture capitalists and startups. So getting into some of the specifics of the program itself, the program it's a 3-month program. It kicks off kind of mid to late January, specifically the weekend of January 20th. We'll have an opening weekend in Hanover. Actually, a chunk of the advisory council, we're going to have some of them come in and share their stories, particularly some of the entrepreneurs. So really excited about that. And then after that opening weekend, there'll be weekly virtual sessions. We'll have a 2-hour-a-week standing session at the same time. Once the cohort's selected, we'll do a poll to find out the best time that works for the cohort. But for instance, if the cohort says, all right, I want to do it Tuesday afternoon from 3 to 5, that will be our weekly standard time. So we will work with the participants to try to find the optimal time for the group. And there will be 3 months worth of programming. And then in addition to that, there'll be a mentor pool, but every team will have one mentor they'll work with on a weekly basis. And so they'll also have a weekly mentor check-in as well. And then we'll wrap up the program in mid-April with a curriculum component. After that, we'll be offering pitch practice sessions and then the opportunity to pitch to our advisory council. And that will be the weekend of May 9th and 10th in New York. There is a little bit of gap, and that's purposely designed to give folks a few weeks to absorb everything from the program, really get their pitch in great shape and feel, have just a little bit of a breather so they can go into that demo day feeling that they've got their optimal pitch. A little bit more on the program, some of the things that we'll be offering. We'll have Tuck faculty in talking about a little more advanced how to work with customers and go to market, scaling up your business model, really working on telling your story and financial modeling for fundraising and how to value your company. I mentioned we're partnering with the Clean Tech Open New England. They're going to bring in some amazing environmental speakers on greenhouse gas emissions, environmental equity, insurance risk for those that are in the technology space, life cycle analysis. And then we've got some really amazing industry experts coming in. I talked about the speaker from the MIT's The Engine, which is a venture capital fund that's been spun out of MIT, to talk about technology and regulatory de-risking. We're bringing in a speaker from the Breakthroughs program about hiring to scale, a former C-level officer at an environmental startup. We've got multiple entrepreneurs coming in to talk about their journey. We'll have a session on IP, complex sales and partnerships. We'll have a panel of venture capitalists talking about what works for them, what doesn't work for them, red flags on the cap table, and giving you a chance to go one-on-one perspective before you actually get into the demo day. And then an expert on how to navigate non-dilutive funding options, whether it's the IRA or other sources of capital. We have got a really amazing group of mentors and guest speakers. I literally just sat down with Kristen Brief yesterday, who's an amazing individual. She's a breakthrough fellow and will be a mentor for the program, along with Josh Gould, who's a director of strategic planning and innovation at a utility company, and really excited to work with startups as a mentor. We've got Kala out of Houston, who's the managing director of the Cougar Venture Fund. Ben Parker, who's an entrepreneur and the founder and chief product officer of Lightship. They're really getting some amazing buzz. They are an EV RV, and so really exciting product from a design perspective. Kim Rosenfeld, who is an amazing individual. She's the director of tech transfer at Dartmouth College and will come in and speak about IP. And Gabriel Van Loozen, who's also going to be one of our mentors at large and with Powerhouse Ventures. So really an exciting a group of folks in addition to our advisory council. And then in terms of why are we having this event May 9th and 10th in terms of demo day, and why New York, I just wanted to give a little perspective on that. We have a Dartmouth Entrepreneurs Forum, and this year it will be in New York. On those dates, we usually have, with these entrepreneur forums, over 500 plus alums attend, and we're introducing a new concept this year called the Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame. And in May, we'll be inducting Shonda Rhimes and Keith Dunleavy into this Hall of Fame. And so we really should have some great movers and shakers there. It'd be fantastic for this cohort to be celebrated at this event and really they're going to get an amazing audience, but really, you know, tap into this big ecosystem around Magnuson. And then this was actually at the beginning when I mentioned the beautiful facility and workspace. This is a picture of the Irving Institute. It's right next to the Tuck School of Business. What you can't see is the Thayer School of Engineering on the, what would be on the, if you're facing the Irving building, the left side of it, and then the Entrepreneurship Center just a little further to the left. So really creating this West End innovation hub, which is pretty exciting. So I've got a few more slides and I'll wrap up and open to Q&A. This is just a little more of a conceptual slide, but I just wanted to, I know there's a lot of terminology about what is an accelerator, what is an incubator, how does this all work? And I just wanted to share how we are thinking about this as the designers of this program. And so this is a very conceptual slide, but as you think about research coming out of the lab, usually use grants, and researchers are exploring new concepts and ideas. And if they think there's something that could be commercializable longer term, then they incubate that idea. And so they're like, all right, I think there might be something here. What would it be? Is there a market for it? Does this even work? And after that, once they prove that initial concept, they get to what I call an acceleration phase. Like they think they have something that's working. They think there is some kind of market for it. But wow, how do I know, you know, I've got maybe a handful of customers, or maybe I don't even have a handful of customers, but I've got people telling me they would buy this. But now I've got to go up and really figure out, how do I scale up and make this a viable company? And that's the phase where we like to come in with the accelerator. We're offering this 3-month program to really, I almost think of it as a coming out party, but you're not just coming up with the original idea. You've thought about it, you have something there, you have some indication that you've got to fit with a potential buyer. How do I now really scale up to make this a business? So on that note, what are we looking for when we screen? We are looking for 2 members of your leadership team on board, meaning that we find that it's a good sign that you're ready to scale up and grow when you've got at least a couple people agreeing this is a viable business concept and I want to be part of it. We're looking for some signs of market validation. Sales would be amazing, but it doesn't have to be sales. It could be that you've done customer interviews, but you know that there's potential buyers for your product. The other thing that we're looking for is that you're looking to scale up. And the indicator of this that we're looking for is you're looking to raise capital within 6 months of the program, whether you're pre-seed, seed, Series A. We do accept a wide variety of applicants. I've gotten the question, well, what if I'm a nonprofit? Absolutely, please apply. And in that case, we'll look for other indications that you're ready to scale up. So what kind of commitment is required? We're looking for a commitment to come in on opening and closing weekend in person. Those are required. So that means it's not negotiable. We expect you to, if you're going to participate in this program, to be there. And then attend the weekly curriculum, which will be over Zoom. And we estimate the full commitment's 5 hours a week. We'll have a 2-hour weekly Zoom session. You'll meet with your mentor to do a weekly check-in, and then there'll be some time there may be pre-work for the session, or all of the topics really should be things that you want to apply directly to your business. And so as you think about, how do I take what I've learned from customers, or how do I de-risk my technology, or think about regulations in this space, or how do I think about environmental equity? All these things are things you can apply to your business. So what are we also, when we go through our evaluation criteria, we'll be looking at what is your product and business model, and do we think this is a viable model? Will this startup have a planetary impact, whether it's direct in terms of a direct reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, or it gets rid of plastics, or increases biodiversity, or perhaps it's an indirect effect. So coming back to that early example of, maybe this is a database for climate education, so it's not a direct impact, but an indirect impact, and that is equally valid and wonderful. Is this the right team to bring this to market, and are they committed? And then the last thing I put on here is social impact. It may be something where there may be a business idea where there's a planetary impact, but it's just for a small group of people, but it has a really big impact for that small group of people. And so we do want to consider that and give some weight to that, even if it's a smaller group of people. So we put in a social impact score because we want that to be important as well. So next steps, would love it if you checked out our website. We so encourage folks to turn in applications. We're really excited. We are asking for applications by the end of October. And then we will be looking at those basically we're asking for a pitch deck, as well as that we have a few written questions. And so we will be looking at those the first 2.5 weeks in November, and then scheduling interviews with the finalists. And so those interviews will take place. Dartmouth is closed the week of Thanksgiving, so it'll be either be the week before the week of Thanksgiving, or the week after. And then we'll be notifying everyone the week of December 8th. So with that, I'll flip it over to the questions and hope there's a really good group here.
Liana, it looks like there's questions both in the chat and the Q&A, because I neglected to enable the chat immediately. So look for both, and I'll help you keep track.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll start with the Q&A, and I'll move over to the chat. So the Q&A says, what engagement options are there for people without companies and ideas yet? So a couple thoughts on that. I guess it depends on if you're a student, faculty, alum, or just broader community member. But in terms of if you're a student, we actually have an amazing new climate ventures class that we're offering this fall. And it's a class that a colleague of mine from Harvard iLabs is offering, but it's open to students at all universities. And we have a group of Dartmouth folks participating in that. And that is actually also open to faculty at different institutions. So There are great solutions out there if you're still at the, I'm climate curious, or I want to do something, but I don't know yet. So maybe if that doesn't answer your question, feel free. Melissa can put in the chat what our email is and email us, but we can help you find it. But there are a lot of good programs out there. Unfortunately, this is not the, I don't know, I don't have an idea yet, but there are a lot of good things out there for someone like you. So thank you for that question. All right, question 2, what is the kickoff date in Hanover? It's weekend of January 20th. Next question, are nonprofits eligible? Absolutely, would love to see some nonprofits as part of this. So yes, please apply, and we'll work with you on how you show scaling. Next question is, how many companies do we expect to accept into the cohort? That's a great question, and it's a difficult one for us to answer, given this is a brand new program, and this is our inaugural session. But I would say that we are prepared to run this program with a small cohort. So if we get 5 great applicants, we are ready to go. If we get many more than that, for us, once we do all the work of setting up this amazing curriculum, it's easy for us to open it up to 25, 30, 40 startups. And it's roughly, there's a little bit more work, but it's roughly the same. Really, the work is in the setup of the program. So I don't know. So John is the person that asked this question. John, I just don't know what we're going to get, given this is our first year. So we're staying flexible to scale up or scale down depending on the applicants. All right, the next question. And feel free to put it in the chat. I seem the Q&A list is getting longer the longer I'm in here. This is from Anna. If our team is not yet at the nonprofit or for-profit corporate stage, but we have advanced prototyping and implementation, is our team eligible? Yes, if you meet the criteria, you are absolutely, please apply. You do not officially have to be incorporated to apply for the program. The one thing is, if you win the prize, you will need to have some kind of legal entity at that point for us to give you the prize money. And just to refresh your memory, we deal with $75K prize, or when you pitch to get investment from the VCs, you will have to have a legal entity at that point, but it's not required to apply. All right, anonymous, will there be funds, resources to pay for travel to Hanover and New York? Unfortunately, no, that is for the startups to fund. There's no fee to be part of this amazing program, but we don't have travel stipends available for folks. So I'm sorry about that. All right, next anonymous question. I understand that any proposal must come from a US registered business. No, that's not true, but let me finish the question. I am a Dartmouth faculty collaborating with a startup in Morocco. Must we have a US registered business to submit an application? You do not have to be a US registered business. It could be anywhere in the globe. But we may, if you win the prize, there may be some challenges we would have to work through if you're international. So that one I would have to get back to you on, but you could absolutely participate from anywhere. I think the big question is, you know, coming in for that opening weekend in Hanover and the final weekend in New York and making that commitment, but we would love to have global participation. That would be amazing. All right, next question is from Rob. Can we submit more than one proposal? Yes, you can. All right, let me go over to the chat. I think we've got the questions from the Q&A. Okay, let me take a look. And Melissa, keep me honest if I miss anything. It looks like there's a question from Alexandra. I am wondering about non-climate specific ventures. I have an environmental sustainability technology solution focused on communication, but it doesn't fit any of the categories listed in the application form. Alexandra, please apply. We tried to list those categories just to give some examples of categories to get people thinking, but we knew it was not an exhaustive list. So please do apply. We're open to all types of climate solutions. I brought up that educational example a few times because I think it's such a great example of something that people don't think about, but I would love to see something focused on communication. And we're very open to that. So thank you for that question. Okay. All right. A question from Robert. How many businesses are you expecting in the cohort? So all right, that's the second time we've got that question. So I'm going to move on. Oh, we got that question from Alexandra. How many applicants are you expecting? How big will the cohort be? We've answered that one. Okay, from Nadine, the application is for a 1-minute video from founder. Is 1 minute a hard requirement or approximately 1 minute fine? Approximately 1 minute is fine. So thank you for that question. We are not going to be difficult on that. We just want to set some guidelines as to what people should look for. All right, from Matt, have there been Magnuson partnerships created in the past where partnerships have been formed? How has it been guided by Magnuson's mentorship? So Matt, I'm going to try to answer this one, but feel free to unmute if you can, if I don't fully understand your question. So the Magnuson is Dartmouth's entrepreneurial center. Magnuson has an accelerator for digital health and cancer. And so they do have, and they have partnered with different health groups for those accelerators. But I would say those accelerators have been, you have to have a Dartmouth faculty participating in those. So hopefully that answers your question about Magnuson partnerships in the past. And so this is a joint venture between Magnuson and Irving around a climate solutions accelerator. It is a little different than what we've done in the past. We are continuing to really try to innovate how we operate. We feel like the challenges presented by climate are so pressing that we want to open this up to entrepreneurs everywhere. So this is the first time that not only have Magnuson and Irving partnered, but we've run a program, we've opened it up beyond Dartmouth faculty and students. And we would love to see alums and the broader community participate in this. I hope that answers the first part of your question. And then how has this been guided by Magnuson's mentorship? So Magnuson is a full partner in this, and we're absolutely tapping into Magnuson resources, mentors, connections, relationships, platform, staff. Jamie Coughlin, who runs the Magnuson Center, and I meet regularly and walk through all this. So they're very involved. So I hope that answers your question. And feel free to follow up or unmute if you've got some additional questions on this. All right, Andrew Hahn, how long is this program guaranteed to run? Will you be up for review after 1 or 2 cohorts? So Andrew, we are piloting the program this spring, but we're looking to run probably a 4 to 5 year pilot. We are not planning on this as a one-off program, but really planning to run this over 4 or 5 years, and then hopefully expand from there. We feel like we've gotten tremendous response for the cancer and digital health. So the health accelerators that Dartmouth has already run. We don't see why climate would be any different. In fact, based on the responses that we're getting so far, if anything, I think these will be even just more successful and meaning more engagement and participation. So please help us make that come true and spread the word and be part of this. Okay, back to Matt. Okay, clarification on the question before, specifically already existing companies. And I'm just laughing as I read Matt's. I'm in the office in Santa Monica. All right, I am jealous of your location. I would love to be near a beach right now, but I am not. In terms of corporate partnerships, Any corporate partnerships Magnuson has will absolutely leverage, but in this space, we do not, the panels that we're setting up for this cohort are the first climate specific partnerships that we've developed. But we are looking to take this initial pilot and build on this. So if you are from a corporate office that would like to partner with us, please do reach out. I've already had a few inbound leads from alums from the corporate R&D side that would like to be part of this. And that is something that we are looking to further develop, mainly to give our entrepreneurs access to a wide range of corporate feedback, a wide range of pilot opportunities and corporate customers. All right, Rob Watson, will you be looking for sources and uses of the prize money? Rob, I don't feel like I understand that question. So maybe if you don't mind throwing in the chat what you, oh, are you meaning, are we looking for how the prize money will be used by the startups? Well, let me take a stab at this, and Rob, please clarify if I don't get it right. But we will be, in terms of developing the pitches, we will be looking for startups to say how much money do they need to reach the next stage of growth. And so that will be a factor that I'm sure will be looked at. So in terms of the awarding of the prize money, the folks that will be making that decision will be the advisory council. So the slide of those 11 folks that I put up earlier, so some of the venture capitalists and entrepreneurs, they will be looking at your pitches and then saying, all right, who do we want to award this prize to? So I absolutely, they'll be looking at your overall pitch, not just how much money do you need and what you're going to use it for, but that will be part of it. And I want to be clear that advisory council will be deciding on the 75K prize money, but they're also open to investing as venture capitalists and as angels. So they may be willing to invest a lot more money from their firms or as angel investors. So I just wanted to clarify that as well. All right, Melissa, how are we doing? Have any more questions popped up?
There's one in the Q&A.
Okay, great. Okay, question from the anonymous. This sounds great. We'd love to participate, but paying for travel will be tricky. Would you reconsider travel stipends? Absolutely, but we would need just in our pilot year, we would need probably an alum to step up and help make that contribution. So if there's anyone on this call that is interested in doing that, please reach out. But that would be the mechanism we would need. We would need an outside funder to come in and make some kind of donation so that we could do that. I can't, unfortunately, as our first year pilot, there's just as with anything, a limitation. There's a certain budget. So I think thank you for coming back to me. And if there is anyone on this call, either from a personal side or a corporate side, that would be interested in donating to help enable more entrepreneurs like one of our attendees who would have trouble paying for travel, please reach out and let us know. All right. So next question from Alexandra. On the application, there's a question about what stage your product is at. Can you provide definitions for those stages? So yes, we will take a look. There should be a link to the technology readiness level. Those are based on TRL levels. If you do not have a technology product or a technical startup, then you can ignore that question, but we are trying to make people think about what stage they're at in terms of that. And maybe there's a way I can put a link in the chat on TRL levels. We may have to send it out afterwards, Alexandra, I'm sorry. I don't think I can quite, between being on the Zoom and having my screen open, do that right now, but we'll go back and take a look at that and make sure the link is added so you can see the explanation around the different TRL levels. Thank you for calling that out. All right. Any additional questions? This has been a great group of questions. I'm so excited by the enthusiasm. All right. Well, before I close, I would just like to ask everyone on this call, this is a new program for Dartmouth. It's going to take all of us. We're doing a ton of work to make this an amazing program. It will take all of us, as you noticed from some of the questions on here. So would love your help spreading the word. So we have a really successful pilot program and continue to build and grow and do not just this program again, but expand on this program and do even bigger things and bring in more corporate sponsors and offer things like travel stipends in the going forward. So really appreciate this group attending, really appreciate the questions, and would love your support. So thank you so much, everybody.